Let me say a special good morning to our listeners and viewers. Welcome to another edition of To The Point here on Classic Radio and the GBN TV. It's Thursday, the 6th day of November 2025. And of course, you know what happens on a Thursday here on the program. We do have various departments from the Royal Grenadier Police Force. And today we have His Majesty's Prison with us today. Did it always seem like His Majesty's Prison part of the police force also? Can I say that? Part of the RGPF?
No,
not really part of the
yeah.
So I was kind of just had a little thought pattern coming across with that this morning. You know, it's like a pretty separate entity.
Yes.
You know, separate entity. Anyway, let me say good morning to my guests from His Majesty's Prison this morning. And of course, we have with us Senior Officer Evelyn Sylvester with us this morning, and we have Junior Officer Kasia Joseph with us this morning. Good morning to you both, and welcome. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us this morning.
You're certainly welcome. You know, sometimes when folks hear of His Majesty Prison, you're thinking about, hey, that's where we get locked up. You know, we think about it in that particular way. But we want to talk about it this morning that will probably give folks a different impression of what His Majesty's Prison is all about. So we're going to go through the conversation as relates to that this morning. Let's kick the conversation about the establishment, His Majesty's Prison. I'm not sure who's going to take the mantle to kick it off first, but in terms of the overall history, the mission, or the vision, you know, how it runs per se. Let's talk about that to get the ball rolling this morning.
Okay, so just to give a brief history, originally the prison was built to house 200 persons, but as we see, as time goes by, the population has increased. It's currently just about approximately 300 and above male inmates, with about 3 females that we currently have.
I guess it varies from time to time.
Yes, it varies, yes. So our population does vary, I must say, from time to time. As it relates to the prison, our mantra is to protect and to rehabilitate. Protection in terms of the public interest, ensuring public safety, and to rehabilitate, that is to reintegrate the inmates so that when they do come back into society, they come back as better citizens, because they are those that society deem not fit or not worthy enough to be there. So that's where the rehabilitative aspect comes in. In times before, it was mainly on security, but we see that we need to take a greater approach to rehabilitation. So rehabilitation has become a big thing at the prison, and we have the programs, like we have the skills, we have the academic, there's the religious part, there's the counseling part of it, and so on. And this is all part and parcel of the rehabilitative effort, as I said. And one of the key players under the rehabilitative effort, we have the prison industries. Yeah. And under the prison industries, we have the different categories. We have the bakery, the farm, we have the carpenter shop, the block plant, and so we have under the industry. And all of these areas is to provide skills to the inmates that are there, so that when they come out from prison, they are able to be gainfully employed, and as the case may be. And those who work within these programs, they are paid a stipend for their work, so they have a source of income as a means that they are there at the prison, that they are able to utilize some of these funds. And also when they discharge, they have something to give a bit of a start, because imagine you're coming out from prison, you may have spent so much years with being unemployed, like in our terms unemployed, and then you're coming back out into society just as a means of giving them having a little bit of money in their pocket. So it's not to give them the biggest push ahead, but just to give them a bit of, just to give them
something of a permanent nature.
Yes, just
a key part of the contribution that you made when you started. You said it started off with a bit of security.
Yes.
In the terms of security, that's where you put individuals who may have committed crimes and so forth. So you needed somewhere to secure them.
Yes.
And I guess it's not always deemed now as only security, because it's a way of rehabilitation, as you put also. But let's talk about the security part of it. Why that transition from not only offering, yes, it still do offer security, to a point, but it's not the main reason why you have people come into the prison. Am I right by saying that in that particular way?
Yes. Let me just say, as society develops and we move towards a more civilized society, one of the indicators is how society treats the worst, we consider as the worst stuff in our society. And one way of one indicator of how we're moving as a society is how we try to reform individual society deemed as unfit to be in the society. So in the past, the main focus was really just to lock persons away.
As you say, the security part, have you secured in an environment where you no longer have the freedom to do things.
They get a sentence and you just, as they say, throw them behind bars, lock them away and throw away the keys. But as the society developed and we are signatories to say the Mandela rules and other international convention on the treatment of inmates, we have to move beyond just security and try to help individuals in our care. So in 2010, the rehabilitation unit was established in the prison. The main focus is on counseling, education, religion, and so forth. And the aim is to help reform individuals.
Make you, of course, get back into society a better person than you came in.
Because we do realize the rehabilitation, recidivism rate, meaning the tendency for persons who have been in prison to return is rather high among the general population in our prison. On average between 60 and 65%.
Talking about returning inmates.
We do have that issue of persons returning.
Is it the case that, of course, a bit of upgrade of the rehabilitation projects that you offer, the process of rehabilitation, is an upgrade needed? That maybe we see or is it people just own personal invitation to just not accept what is being offered to them?
It's a number of reasons. We must understand a lot of the persons who keep coming back have underlying problems, drug use, alcohol, mental issues, and so forth. Even though we try to provide as much the services to help them, we have limitations in terms of resources. The rehabilitation unit is a small unit. We only have one counselor, social worker, and 3 officers who engage in the school and so forth. So it's a challenge to really provide the services necessary for 370 something inmates every day.
It depends on the time span that an individual gets to the level of time to stay in the prison. Someone may only be given 6 months. How much could you offer them in 6 months?
6 months,
You understand? I get that.
But we do offer services. We do offer the basic education, literacy, numeracy. We do offer CXC and vocational subjects. And what we have seen over the years, persons who attend those programs, the tendency for them coming back is reduced significantly. So you have a recidivism rate around 20 to 25% among those persons.
How is, especially inmates per se, when they are offered these opportunities, we see a lot of inmates gravitating, especially the younger ones, or even the senior inmates who are there, when these opportunities are offered to them. Are we seeing they're gravitating to it in any way that's encouraging?
It's a challenge getting them to do it. And one of the issue, the court do mandate that certain persons, especially the High Court, that they attend programs, educational program, counseling, and so it's mandated by the court. So obviously they will have the first preference in programs. Other than that, if the court does not mandate it, it's a voluntary situation for you.
I want to do that.
If you want to do it, you do it. Otherwise, they can come in prison and maybe just spend the time and leave.
Okay. I want to focus a wee bit on the overall mission. Of course, Junior did speak about it briefly. That overall mission, I want to expand on it a wee bit for me. The mission of His Majesty's Prison. What's that overall mission? Expand on it a wee bit for me.
Okay, so just to give a brief, it's really to to provide a safe and secure environment using enhanced management and other practices, kind of feeding into our vision, because our vision is to be the model of penal reform. And to be a model, there are certain practices, as Mr. Sylvester would have mentioned, taken into consideration with different conventions as it relates to the treatment of inmates and the Mandela rules that highlight some of the treatment as it relates to human rights for the inmate. So the vision is to where we are going, and the mission is to where we are going, and the overall vision is capitulating the bigger picture. So to provide a safe and secure environment, that's the roadmap that we're going to use to get to our vision, that is to be the model. Because as we said before, we have rehabilitation, but the whole aspect of the prison is security, taking into consideration the public's interests, because the public wants to know that, hey, the prison is able to secure.
Yes.
Because whenever an inmate would have escaped, which is very rare, we see that there is a bit of an unrest. We have the public calling, we see on social media that comments are being made. So we're not forgetting our overall mission to secure, and we are not taking on the fact that we are not forgetting rehabilitation as well, if I should say.
If I can tap into you spoke about the mission and everything else that came in that's encapsulated together, but are we seeing results from that mission at all? Are you seeing that the mission of the prison, what you intend to do, especially in helping inmates, are we seeing results? Are we seeing the result that you would like, or you would like to see much more? You being officers in a prison and you notice what's taking place. You mentioned, there's always that returning inmate for whatever reasons, but inmates who excel there, I guess that would make you happy to see these particular inmates have gone from one stage to another, and they probably will be coming back not only as an inmate, but coming back to offer assistance in some way there. Do we see that happening sometime? So you say that your mission and the statement that you want to see for inmates, are you seeing that results coming from that?
First, I would want to start by just highlighting it's the mindset of a person, right?
Yes.
You can give a man or woman all the tools that they need to be better, but in offering it, it needs to be receptive back. When you give it, is it being taken back? Is person seeing the importance of what we are trying to do in terms of a rehabilitative aspect? And if you're able, one of the toughest things to get into is a man's mind. Yeah. And Mr. Sylvester did mention that there are challenges that some persons, they see the importance, some persons they don't see. It's there, it's been offered, but is the individual to really make use of it? We would say that with everything, I believe that there's always room for improvement. Nothing is perfectly sealed off or perfectly written, because we are always organizations, they grow. Yeah. We continue to grow. Growth is something that never stops at a point, right? So there are things, but as we say, where we are with our resources, we can only offer so much with the resources that we have in general. But there's always areas that we can improve, things that is not going to be costly financially. And I must say, with the rehab unit, they are working for ways. We have things like sports and fun there. We are working with what we have. We are trying to, there are persons within corporate Grenada that assist in the rehabilitative efforts and so on. So it's part and parcel that it takes the prison and other stakeholders to come on board, really to drive that point of rehabilitation. Because for rehabilitation to work, you have the tools, but you also need resources, which is most times you need the financial resources to be able to push. So we are trying. We are getting there. As I said, we are not perfect, but it's a work in progress. You continue to work as you go, and you build upon it.
We due for a break. Let's take it when we come back. When we come back, I want us to get in depth in terms. Let us speak in depth in relation to the programs and some of the industries within His Majesty's prison. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Looking to shop on?
This November, get ready for a thrilling showdown at the 2025 Anosis OECS Table Tennis Championships in Grenada. 7 nations battle for glory from November 7th to 9th at the Grenada Youth Center as top OECS players compete in teams, singles, and doubles events. Don't miss a rally. Get your season tickets now. It's the 2025 Anosis Table Tennis Championships, celebrating the OECS spirit. Sponsored by the Association of National Olympics Committee of the OECS U.S., the Government of Grenada, and the People's Republic of China. For more information, call 414-7203. This ad brought to you compliments Brainstorm Media Solutions.
Grenada, get ready for a fantastic explosion. It's Pan Invasion, the official handover of steel pans to communities across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique on Saturday, November 8th at 5:30 p.m. at the Tanti Netball Court. Experience the thrill of live steel pan music. Feel the rhythm in every beat at Pan Invasion. Enjoy electrifying performances by top local steel orchestras and special guest artists. Whether you're a die-hard pan lover or just in the mood for some good vibes, this is the event you don't want to miss. So join us at Pan Invasion on Saturday, November 8th, 5:30 p.m. at the Tanti Netball Court. Presented by the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture.
This Christmas, GBN is lighting up Grenada. From November the 10th to December the 24th, your festive season starts right here with GBN's Christmas Catalog 2025. Start your mornings with mid-morning magic. Weekdays 10 to 12, live fun, giveaways, and Christmas cheer every day. On Friday, December the 5th, the school's Christmas challenge lights up the Trade Center. 15 schools, 1 trophy, and the voices filled with holiday joy. Then on Saturday, December the 20th, it's Christmas in Camahan. Live music, food, shopping, toy giveaway, and the grand tree lighting ceremony. And on Monday, December the 22nd, join GBN's caroling in the city, spreading Christmas cheer all through St. George's. Every Sunday from 5 to 7, enjoy Utah Sundays with classic Christmas tunes and prices galore. And from December the 1st, K105's Lights of Christmas. Guess that hidden cash on the win. So whether you're singing, shopping, or celebrating, do it with GBN. Connecting with you this Christmas. Our partners making it possible. Flow, Ace Hardware, Foodland Supermarket, Grenada Duty Free, Answer Coating, Banfields, and Koyaba Beach Resort. GBN's Christmas Catalog. Connecting you this season.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, we have representatives from His Majesty's Prison with us this morning. And we're talking about the roles and responsibilities at His Majesty's Prison. So I want to welcome back once again, officers. Welcome back. As mentioned before the break, I wanted to, of course, highlight once again some of the programs and the industry as a whole of His Majesty's Prison. Speak to me in relation to that. Folks hear different things happen at the prison. You did highlight some of them in the introduction when you started, but let's hear about some of those key programs in the industry at His Majesty Prison.
Yes, so the prison does have a school. We do start from the basic right up maybe to vocational studies. So we do have basic literacy, because we saw the need for literacy. Persons, a large number of persons do come enter the prison and lack basic reading skills and numeracy skills. So we start at the basic level. We do CXC. And one of the highlight of the CXC classes is once inmates do CXC and they pass, they teach the others coming up.
Other inmates coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we do have quite a number of inmates actually teaching other inmates at the prison.
All right.
Yeah. So we do a number of vocational studies. We do crop production, animal rearing, small engine repair, AC and refrigeration. Currently we are doing a CVQ in construction, and so on. So by the end of an inmate's sentence, they should have a skill at least to go out.
At least something to fall back on when they return to society.
They return to society, And the prison industry plays an important role in the education process.
Yes.
So in crop production and animal rearing, for example, the prison farm plays an important role because that is the grounds where the teaching and the practical part of the teaching happens.
And they have that rollback effect in terms of food for the prisoners.
Yes.
Yes.
So they do produce. We do produce a number of crops. We do a lot of poultry. Well, everyone knows about the pigs at the prison, cattle and so forth, eggs and turkeys and so forth. That forms part of the rehabilitation process. Another popular in part of the industry is the prison bakery. Everybody knows about
good prison bread.
Yep. And what they do is inmates that's employed at the prison bakery. And the prison bakery has a very high standard. So inmates who end up working at the bakery, by the time they leave, bakeries on the outside actually are waiting to hire them. So those persons already know that employment is waiting.
You know, I do know of individuals who actually who work at bakeries now, and they have gained the skill from being in prison. Had they, one time in their life they committed a particular crime that caused them to be in prison, and now they're out and they play lead roles in bakeries. I know a couple of individuals who are into that.
Yes,
and it sort of work as a bit of rehabilitation. QFC that made a change in their life. You understand? Because before that, they were, as we say sometimes, they were a little wayward, as we call them. So we say sometimes they were not, individual. You never thought they would have had that particular interest, and somehow going to prison had sprung that interest on them, and baking is like a pride and joy for them right now.
So we also teach carpentry. A number of inmates do learn carpentry and joinery skills at the prison. We have a functioning carpenter shop, and we do teach inmates how to do carpentry, construction, maintenance, and so forth. And one of the newer parts of the industry is blocks making.
We actually do that now at the prison.
We actually make the blocks, and the inmates learn that skill. So at least when they leave, they have a new skill. They could go there and find employment in that field.
I'm happy to hear all of these particular, being part of the industry of the prison. But my concern is getting the inmates to want to participate. That is still one of the concerns that the officers do have up there. The prison command in general do have. Getting the participation of prisoners. Some feel, well, I ain't come here for that. Some folks may have that particular attitude towards it. I ain't come here for that. I just come to serve my time and leave or whatever. But it's in the long run, it's beneficial for them if they think about it in that particular way. Tell me that concern in terms of actually getting inmates, depending on the level of crime they may have committed, still have that notion in their mind. I just come here to spend my time and leave, and I don't want to learn to do anything else.
We do have situations where persons come to prison and don't really want to do anything. They just rather come to prison and spend their days doing anything. But currently we do get inmates interested in working and participating. So if you come to the prison on a daily basis, you'll see inmates going about the compound, supervised, doing work. Either they're on the farm working, or in the blocks plant, the carpenter shop, or doing construction, because currently we're doing additions and so forth on the prison, and it's the inmates who are actually doing the work.
Is there a level in terms of how these particular programs are offered to inmates?
In CVQ and NVQ, we offer level 2 and level 3 in CVQ and NVQ programs. So
Okay.
They do get the certification. Yeah.
All right. Which in the finances will offer them that kind of help when they.
Yeah.
All right. Now the main role and responsibilities that functions as the prison. Talk to me about in relation to that. How did the prison function? The roles and responsibilities, especially when it comes to officers and inmates. Their roles and responsibilities.
So, the officers' role and responsibility in the prison really to supervise.
Yeah.
We supervise inmates. We protect society in terms of preventing the inmates from committing harm to society once the court sentence them to prison. Our role is also to protect the inmates on the inside, and also officers. In terms of inmates, is to protect them from other inmates. We do have a lot of vulnerable inmates at the prison, a lot of youths, young offenders. In recent times, we had a lot of young offenders. We do have mentally challenged inmates, and those are inmates who require a lot more protection than others, because they do fall victims to other inmates. So our role is really to protect them and to participate in the rehabilitative process. So every officer has his role in the rehabilitative process. If it's to provide security, to encourage rehabilitation to take place, taking part in the industry, supervising the inmates at work, taking part in the actual teaching or so forth. All of us have a role to play in that process. Without security, and rehabilitation
in terms of helping prisoners who may be lagging for whatever reason, you give them that help them in a supervisory purpose to help them to live themselves up, more or less.
Yes. So rehabilitation can take place in an environment that lacks security.
So true. So true.
So it goes hand in hand.
You have to feel a level of comfort as an inmate also. You know, feel a level of comfort.
Yes.
You know.
And all the services that are required to run a prison, the kitchen, cleaning, inmate service in terms of legal representation, the court. It's a lot of, prison, people might not understand. Prison is like a little society for itself. Everything that happens outside has to go on the inside. All the services, health.
Not like a total isolation and anything. It's not like they're totally isolated.
So, health-wise, we must provide that service. All the health services outside is required on the inside. So, we're responsible for managing, supervising all those bits and pieces for the overall operation of the prison. In terms of inmates are responsible for following the rules and regulation that governs the prison. Yes, as we know, inmates have rights, they also have privileges.
Yes.
Rights are given to them same way as any other Grenadian citizen. However,
not even because you are incarcerated doesn't mean there's no right. You have your rights.
You have your rights. So they're responsible for knowing their rights too, and how far their rights can reach.
And is it the responsibility of the prison to explain the rights?
Yes, that's our responsibility too, and not only to explain it but also uphold their rights.
Yes. All right. Interesting to note. Now, I know there are listeners and viewers who are listening this morning, and there's always an opportunity when individuals may want to visit the prison. Talk to me about the public interaction, how this process, the procedure, especially when it comes from visitors and so forth, and how the operating hours of the prison, how, especially for individuals who may be first-timers to this. Talk to me in relation to that.
Okay, so as it relates to visiting the prison, that is if you want to visit your families that are there. These days our operated on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So on Tuesday and Thursdays, you have from 9 to 3, and on Saturdays, you have from 9 to 12. So to be able to, if you're visiting on a family purpose, to be able to visit your family, you must receive a pass, what we call a pass, which is a documentation that highlights the inmate's name, and it has your name, and they want you to visit at a certain day. But we know, due to probably maybe delays in the mailing services, you may not, or maybe where or how you receive your mail, you may not get it at that particular time of the visit. But there is communications where the inmates can touch base with their families and let them know, okay, that I did a pass for you to come visit me that day. As it was highlighted, there is a list now. So because we, as I said, we know the issues with the meals and so on, that if you do come in on that day, your name will be checked and verified that you're coming to visit on that day, and then you're able to get your visit. And also, as relates to visiting, you must be properly addressed at the prison. Right at the front entrance, we have a notice there that says as to, in terms of your dress code, what are the do's and don'ts of dress code. But for the sake of those who may not have been there, so when you're coming to visit, for the females, you're not allowed to wear any short clothing, no sleeveless clothing, no short pants, to be specific. You're allowed to wear a long pants. Your arms must be properly covered. No see-through clothing as well. You're not allowed to wear that. You can wear comfortable sandals or slippers or sneakers if you feel, as the case may be, that you want to be comfortable when you're coming out of the prison. And once you enter the prison, for the males, in terms of the dress code, no short pants, no armless. The same rules apply, no armless for the males and so on. And then you enter the prison. When you enter in at the prison, the first checkpoint, you'll meet the officer there at the checkpoint. You'll be asked to give the officer your ID. Your cell phone will also be taken at that point. There is no cell phone beyond that access point, and your information will be processed, and you'll be directed to go over to the visiting area. That is where the officer will take your information as to who you're visiting, and so you're allowed to bring in items for your family as well. That is fruits and vegetables we mainly accept, and clothing as well. But clothing are limited because, as we mentioned, spacing is an issue, and we don't want to have one person having too much of one thing. So we allow some clothing. So the officers at the visit area, they will use their discretion as to how much they will take for a particular individual. Just to highlight, when you're bringing in fruits and vegetables, everything has to be whole. So you cannot bring in, for example, a piece of a watermelon or a piece of papaya, because in the past, before, there are incidences for security risk where items or illegal items were stashed within. So we ask that everything be whole, and when you come, the officer, in the presence of the person is visiting, they will do the necessary separations of the item and so on. And whatever you bring for your relative, you'll have to sign to it, and that a copy of that item is given to the person that you're visiting with your signature along with the officer's signature, as a means of being accountable and also to be transparent as well as the case may be. We also have special visits as well. Like, there are special visits that are organized for persons that may not be a part of the regular visiting days. So these special visits happen as well, where, especially surrounded around families and probably legal issues or otherwise, we have special visits that are organized for inmates. So this is done through the department, through the authorities. These visits are organized and set up so persons can come in and visit. And then we have the regular visitors that may come in, whether they want to purchase eggs or they want to come probably to see whoever inside the prison circle. But in terms of being able to just come in at the prison, like you feel like, okay, let me see what the prison looks like. No, that's a no.
You did it brings a question to mind, because you did mention in terms of sometimes a prisoner may send that visitation to a family, and you said, issue with mail and stuff like that. Is it a process where an inmate can serve that information to an officer, or maybe the department where that takes care of getting that visitation organized, and say, I would like you to call some family member and tell them I would like a visitation? Can that be done in that particular manner instead of the mailing process? Is that done in that particular way? Because we know with technology now and so forth, folks may not be getting this, the regular way of receiving mail. probably folks may receive mail by an email and stuff like that. Is that a process? Is there a process like that the person operates like?
Okay, so like I said, we still utilize what we call the visit pass, right? We haven't come up into the whole idea of technology. Okay. And as I said, the inmates, they have the opportunity that they can call their families and ask that they come in to visit them. We prefer.
So there's the allowance to make a call?
Yes, they are allowed to. Yes, they are allowed to communicate. They are allowed to communicate with their family. As I said, if that pass don't get to the individual, there is a list that is made, right? Yeah. So through communication with their family member, that family can come on that specific day, and that name will be verified against the pass that was sent out. As I should highlight, there are days what we call what we consider to be open visits, right? There are days, especially like around the carnival season or the Christmas season and so on, because we know sometimes there are a lot of persons that may be coming out from international, regional, that may want to see their families. So we consider it to be open in the sense that, and we know that children may be on vacation, and we know there are persons who have their families and so on. So you can come in to visit your family without having a pass sent to you. Okay. But like I said, you must have a purpose and an intention. You must have.
Because there's some limitations.
Yes, you must have. So that when you come, but you also have to have a form of identification as well as to whom you're coming to visit, whether it be your NIS, your driver's license, your passport, and so on. So for the opening visit purpose, you must have a form of identification, because we are aware that there are persons up there that may have done things to family or friends, and as I said, we have to secure those that are within our care. We must secure them, and we wouldn't want someone to just randomly coming and pose a security. Yes. So we want to know that you're coming in to visit someone, that we can identify you, and we also would have to verify with the person that you're saying that you want to visit, that there is this actual relation between you and that person.
I know X or Y?
Yes, because now you come to visit an inmate and he doesn't want to visit with you because he feels like, hey, I don't want to have that visit.
He can refuse.
Can refuse a visitation. Yeah.
Exactly. So as I said, it's just a matter of ensuring security. So we haven't gone into the whole idea of technology. Sometimes the old way is still just as good enough in terms of going to a new way.
I understand. We drew for a break. Let's take it. Folks, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Grenada, get ready for a fantastic explosion. It's Pan Invasion, the official handover of steel pans to communities across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique on Saturday, November 8th at 5:30 p.m. at the Tanti Netball Court. Experience the thrill of live steel pan music. Feel the rhythm in every beat at Pan Invasion. Enjoy electrifying performances by top local steel orchestras and special guest artists. Whether you're a die-hard pan lover or just in the mood for some good vibes, this is the event you don't want to miss. So join us at Pan Invasion on Saturday, November 8th, 5:30 p.m. at the Tanti Netball Court. Presented by the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture.
Hello Grenada, this is your boy, the Pink Panther, and I'll be performing at the Hubbard's 19th Annual Legends in Concert on the 9th of November. I'm currently celebrating my 50 years in Calypso Business Stanboy, and there's no better way to celebrate this moment than with you in Grenada on November the 9th. See you there at the Trade Center.
Very circumspect and conduct yourself with respect.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0, the inaugural primary school choir singing competition, December 5th, 1 p.m. the Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
OECS Table Tennis Championships in Grenada. 7 nations battle for glory from November 7th to 9th at the Grenada Youth Center as top OECS players compete in teams, singles, and doubles events. Don't miss a rally. Get your season tickets now. It's the 2025 ANOSIS Table Tennis Championships, celebrating the OECS spirit. Sponsored by the Association of National Olympics Committee of the OECS, the Government of Grenada, and the People's Republic of China. For more information, call 414-7203. This ad brought to you compliments Brains.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio. It's Thursday, the 6th of November. We're into the final segment of today's program. And to our listeners and viewers of if you do have a question or two as relates to the conversation this morning, feel free to give us a call. You have double the options of calling in, 435-2041. You have the WhatsApp and the direct line. Officers, welcome back once again. My question that I want to ask you in this segment as we move on through is also we await, of course, our listeners and viewers, if they do have a question or two they may like to ask. Recruitment is not the same process for becoming a prison officer.
Yeah.
You say it right. It's not the same process as wanting to become a police officer.
No.
As you mentioned in the intro of this conversation, it's a total entity.
Yes.
All in one. Tell us a process that individuals who may be listening and say, I want to become a prison officer. What's the process that they do have to go through?
So we do take applications. Applications are addressed to the Commissioner of Prisons.
Yes.
After we go through the application, there are requirements you must have. It must be between the age of 18 and 35. Possess 5 CXC subjects, including English. Be a citizen of Grenada.
Yeah.
And so forth. It's same requirement as any department or ministry in the public service, because we do fall under the Public Service Commission. So all the requirements under the public service are the same requirements for entering the prison service. But currently we do have persons in training. So persons might have missed the bus in terms of gaining employment.
Is there a specific time frame that, or during the year, that you do accept applicants who we wanted, or is there a timeline for that?
Not necessarily. It's based on the vacant positions at the prison. So as persons retire,
an opportunity becomes available.
But we won't just take on 2 persons to train. We'll wait for maybe a significant number to initiate a recruitment course or so. As currently we do have 55 persons in training.
Okay.
So, and the last training we had was in 2017, so it's quite a while since
you had new recruits
coming in.
Interesting.
So I can't say as to when in the future we'll have a recruitment course again, but we always encourage people, if you have it, send it.
I mean, you said there is anything, you just never know. Yeah. I mean, you spoke of some of the requirements coming in, you said, the subjects that you may need to have.
Yeah.
Is there a thing that required? I mean, in terms of your personal character and stuff like that. Is that also important in becoming a person officer?
Yes. So everyone has to get a character certificate.
Okay.
We'll do the background check. We'll do the vetting. So anything not desirable for the prison, it will come up.
All right.
So we do the background check. You have to get your certificate of character and so forth. We must get that before we proceed to the interview process.
In terms of just totally accepting it, that has to go through.
Yes. And we do the interview process. Normally, the Public Service Commission will set up a team of persons to do it.
Okay.
So it's an independent team who does the interview with persons included from the prison, and selection would be made from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, prison as it is, I think you mentioned it's been 100 and how much?
45.
145 years since His Majesty's prison has been established and running. You've been there, well, you ain't reached 145 yet, so you're not even close to that. But as the time you've been there, both officers, what more would you like to see offered at His Majesty's prison that will, that would enhance, especially the rehabilitation process of inmates? What more would you like to see from your personal view over the years? You would like to see this happen or that happen that will enhance especially when it comes to rehabilitating, inmates. And you say, hey, if this is offered to a particular point, I will see inmates and we have less returning inmates because somehow the rehabilitation process is working that much. What do you like to see happen?
Yes.
I'll get a response from both of you all.
Yeah, first off, we have to expand the rehabilitation department. Well, move it from a unit to a department for itself.
And not just within the prison, but something that is maybe more expansive.
Yeah, understanding that a major pillar of the prison now is rehabilitation. One of the issues we have is actually space. Space to hold classes, spaces to do counseling. So in the future, we have plans on the books for a new prison.
Yeah.
So with that, I envision a prison with enough space to provide the services we need.
Yeah.
Health care for mentally challenged inmates, because we do have a high population of mentally challenged inmates who actually...
And you feel them could be of a separate
section
for
where they could get the necessary treatment. A separate section for youths, young offenders, keep them away from the hardened criminals. So the influence is diminished from those persons. So as other modern prisons throughout the Caribbean, we lack the space necessary to provide necessary services that is required to really provide rehabilitative services, even security. We lack the space because even if we're trying to separate individuals from each other, where will we put them? There's only a limited amount of space we have to work with. Yeah, so as we go forward, yes, we require maybe a new prison, a more modern
I hope
prison.
the authorities are listening and they probably could have speed up the process.
I know priorities may not necessitate a prison at this moment, but as we go forward and thinking about a new era in corrections and moving away from a prison service to a correctional service, where the focus is on changing, reintegrating individual, we need space and more resources to really provide those services.
And being a small island as we are, we'd probably see less returning if there's a space and able to offer more quality service. We do have a caller online. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Officer.
Good morning.
Right. Tell me, what's the youngest age, right? A person is okay. You could really detain a person and could become a prisoner then. What the youngest age? 14, 15, 13, or 12? 16. What's really the youngest age that a youth could become a prisoner per se?
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Yes. So to answer a question, the youngest age currently we're receiving inmates is at 18.
Yeah.
With a new housing facility at Bacolet, young offenders are usually housed at Bacolet.
And that's a separate entity.
They fall under the Ministry of Social Development while we're under National Security.
Yeah.
In the past, before the establishment of that facility, we used to get young offenders, 15 or 16 or so, but we don't really get those persons at that age anymore.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, I didn't really finish. My thing was I don't think because sometimes like a young person sometimes based on the knowledge and inexperience, they just do something and maybe they didn't give it a serious thought then, right, before they really do it, and they just do it, and then you just take them and you put them among other not hard seasoned criminals, but I don't think any prison is really the proper place for them, right, per se, being as a young offender, right, and maybe inexperienced and doing and I don't think that yes, you have programs there for them, right, yes, but I am saying that being that young and inexperienced and first offender, thing, I don't find this is the proper place for them. Now the next thing is I think that the next little contribution is that let's say just a little thing I'm just throwing out here. The prison, right? The prisoners, right? We have cemeteries, right? That between ourselves. Sometimes when I pass in, sometimes the tears does really want to come. The tears just kind of want to flow. When I see our cemeteries, full of bush, so much grass, and you have prisoners there, could at least come out and contribute and have some work and do some work and keep our cemeteries clean, because the thing about it is our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, uncles, son, daughters that is there, right? So people might say, it's Lakwal and it's Artway, but I am saying that our cemeteries belong to us and it's our people that is there. So I think prison you all that is in charge of the whole thing could really lend, give some assistance to the prisoners and let them come and clean and have the cemeteries and them clean up.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Is it left up the responsibility of the prison services to do that, or is it sometimes sometimes they say someone they may have gone to court and their sentences may say hard labor, but is it the responsibility of the prison service to have prisoners go out and clean a cemetery and stuff like that?
Well, in recent times the court has not really sentenced person to hard labor. To
those kind of sentences anymore. You don't hear much of that going on.
We don't really get persons sentenced to hard labor anymore. However, prisoners do perform cleaning duties in public properties. We do it in certain places, certain locations. In terms of cemeteries, I don't think that responsibility really falls to the prison.
Okay.
I don't know in the future if the Minister of National Security in his
thinks it's something that prisoners could be allowed to do. Well, that could be looked into.
That falls under his authority, but we don't have that authority to do.
We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, GT. How are you doing? And good morning to the officers. I thought I missed that.
Good morning to you. We're doing good. Let's hear from you. Go right ahead, please.
Okay. So my question for this morning is, I think for the persons who is in charge of the prisons, who are responsible for the policy making, goes all the way up to the Minister of National Security. I think that first of all, one of my recommendations, they should consider doing something similar to that of CSOT. Have a blockage with cell phone services towards the prison. I know it may affect some of the officers, but that's a security measures that they need to work on. So they should have a certain radius where no cell phone communication should come from that His Majesty's prison out here to the public or the population. Reason why I'm saying that, if you look at couple murders that take place, or certain crimes that take place within 2024, 2023 period and beyond, some of those still ongoing, and they have persons who are serving sentences inside of the prison are involved in some of these criminal activities out here. Because so there's a criminal enterprise within there that affecting us, the public out here. Secondly, just like the guns that come from the United States of America, we the Caribbean, we don't produce any guns. The prisoners, as the officer has said, they do give them phone calls to reach out, whether it is with a pass or whatever they get passes. there should be stricter measures in place to ensure that no phones come through that prison through any prison officer, because no phones can get the inmate without it coming through a prison officer based on the security measures that's up there. So I think more should be done in that aspect there to safeguard we, the public outside here, as much as possible. So this is my 2 contribution, and I hope that it could probably go as far as up to the Minister of National Security. This is things that we need to get sorted out in the near future, and it's something to consider. Thank you very much, GT.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. In response to the caller?
Yes, I know the Ministry of National Security is aware of the situation as it relates to cell phone, and I'm sure they are looking towards solutions to the situation.
Put a cover that.
Yeah.
We have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jay, and good morning to your guests. In the light of our government moving to legalize marijuana, is it will be easier for our prisoners to smoke marijuana in jail, or be against the law still? You know, that's what I want to know.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I guess you heard what the caller said.
Yes, as with all other prisons, drugs are still prohibited and is considered illegal in prison. Yeah.
All right, so that's a no-no for that caller. We are moving down to approximately 5 minutes after the 10 o'clock hour, which means it's about time for us to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank you, both officers, for coming and sharing information this morning. I would say we still have just touched the surface in terms of a lot of things that takes place at the prison. And I certainly hope, of course, sometime again you'll come back and we could go a little more in depth of what's really happening at the prison a little bit more. Anything you want to say in closing?
Yes, one thing I would like to emphasize is that prisoners, after they have served their time, they are humans. The society, the court sentence them to time, they did their time, and when they're released, society should at least be a little more accepting of them. Give them a chance at employment and making their worthy contribution to society.
You know, some of them do try hard to come back, and and sometimes it's the rejection sometimes causes those incidents where they have to return back again. You understand that rejection part of it from society. Anything in closing, Junior Officer?
Just to close, I would say that with the prison, it must be a collaborative effort as it relates to security, because I believe from the very foundation of a boy or girl, it has to start at the home, right? Everything that happens in a child's life, it begins at the home, and we know that the generation that we're in, this sort of a technological era where persons are much more exposed to a lot of different things. So this is just really a call out to parents, that to in terms of how you groom your child, the direction that you would want your son or your daughter to move into, because we wouldn't want to have a case as we have a lot of young people coming to the prison now, and especially our young men. At the prison there are programs like Empower specifically surrounded around it, because it's realized that in the whole aspect of men there is a challenge, because a bigger part of our population is men. And it has been realized that there is a challenge as relates to men and how they are driven and the direction that they are pointed to in terms of resolving conflicts, anger management, and I believe everything starts from the home. So parents, I'm just encouraging you that it starts with you.
I have a different view towards that sometimes. Because I know there are parents who have tried their best.
Yes.
I know of parents who have gone the extra mile to make sure their son and daughters provide with everything they want. Spoke to them, offer the discipline, whatever discipline that they have to, from a young age to a particular time. But sometimes it just leaves to those individuals themselves who wants to be that particular way. So sometimes I don't always blame the home or maybe the parent, or some folks, a single parent, the mother or father is not there or whatever. We know individuals who have grown up with their mom alone. and they come out to be, very good individuals in the world, and there are some who do different. But I say sometimes it leaves to the individual's minds.
Yes,
so I don't always believe.
Yes, I don't disagree to that. That's why I say it's a partner.
The home. You know, it plays an important role.
Yes.
But I don't always put that final blame on the home. You know, I always said it leaves up to the individual. Okay? I know there are parents who have done their best.
Yes.
You know, in offering that whatever is needed to have that son or daughter, offer the education, and then judge feel they ain't taking it, and that's what leads to where they become. All right, thank you once again, and all the best.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, as we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point, thanks all who, of course, contributed. You sat at home, you listened, you called in. Thank you so much. Join us again for another edition. That's why I say goodbye.